Hey everybody, Alyssa here from Becoming Memories. Thanks for joining me for another process video. This is number 2 in Small Sketches, which is a new series that I've been really enjoying so far, using a sketch to create a pocket page. So this is today's sketch. It's from Allison Davis at Scrapbook Generations, and it is quite a few years old, but I loved the little circles on there, and I've already created a layout that kind of has the same look, which I will show you here at the end of the video. So I've cut out a bunch of circles from the page kit that I have here, and the layout of this particular pocket page is a 6x12 on one side with 6 4x3 or 3x4 cards on the other side. So this is kind of what was in my page kit. Oh, there's the layout that I made. Inspired, actually this was a scrap lift layout from a friend of mine, and I decided that when I saw the sketch it was very similar and I could use it for small sketches. That is what happened. Unfortunately, this voiceover is happening several weeks after the recording because with the holiday that we've had here in America, things have been a little bit crazy, and my time to record voiceovers has been how about non-existent? Let's go with that. So this is open book collection from Maggie Holmes. A lot of these cards are, most of these papers, or if not all of these papers, I think, are from that collection. And that was me taking a note of the dates for this page that I'm working on, so that when I get ready to put those in, I don't get them wrong, because I may or may not have done that in the past. So I plead the fifth. Anyhow, so I'm going to play around here with how my photos are going to go, looking back to the sketch for some inspiration here, and I'm going to start layering in these circles. Now, I chose these two photos to go on the 6x12 side because they are the two that are from like the same time, the same situation, the same, I don't know, setting, whatever you want to call it. The rest of the photos there are all from the same week, but were taken at different times during the week. So, actually those two up above, I believe, those two upper 3x4 cards, I do believe, were actually taken at the same time. That's a picture of my daughter and her friend and my son, and I think they were all studying and doing homework in the living room at the same time. So here I am changing my ATG tape. I'm going to cut this out for you, and now we're back. It takes me a little bit to get the ATG tape quite right, so I cut all that out for you. I'm pretty sure that if the video wasn't muted right now when that ran out, you would have heard, really? Because I hate it when the ATG tape runs out, because I hate changing the ATG tape. Usually I ask my husband to do it, but he wasn't here at this particular time. So, there you go. So it's kind of like my car. The car makes a noise and you tell the husband about it, and by the time he checks it, it's not making any kind of noise. That's how my ATG likes to behave. It never runs out when he's here, only when he is not here. So I guess I need to work on that a little bit. So I'm following the sketch here in that I am trying to run all of my circles kind of from the upper left-hand corner, cascading down to the lower right. And that is why the two top 3x4 cards and then the bottom left 3x4 card, they don't have any circles, because I was trying to really keep to that idea of the cascading line of circles or bubbles or whatever. Kind of reminded me of bubbles on the sketch, and so that's kind of how I was thinking of it. So here I'm just layering in a bunch of different patterns and sizes and shapes. Here I decided that that one that I had tucked under the photo was too big for that particular spot, so I swapped it out. And I think what I'm getting ready to do is, I'm cutting down one of the circles I had previously cut because I needed a smaller one. And I liked having them all pre-cut because it made this pocket page really quick and easy, but I didn't cut any of those really small ones because I wasn't sure if I would need them. So I went ahead and just cut that down, no big deal. And I think I'm going to do, nope, I'm not doing the same with that one. Works It works. Okay. So I'm putting 2 bubbles down there at the bottom. See, I just said bubbles. That was totally what was in my head. Circles down there at the bottom as kind of a place to layer up my title, which, because this is a pocket page, really ends up being the date. But it kind of has, the sketch has a place right there where it says title, and that's where the title would go. So I'm using my date as my title. And what I find really when I work on pocket pages with sketches is sometimes I take the sketch and I try to view the pocket, all the cards, as a whole. So I try to view them as kind of a 12 by 12 layout, as one layout. There we go. And other times it works better to take the sketch and kind of make it a miniature on each card. And I have another video coming up that I hopefully will get up next week that has that version where I use each little pocket as a mini layout, and I actually use the sketch on each and every little card. So stay tuned for that version of that. So I've put now the word January there, and here comes the date, which actually at the end of the day it happened to be wrong, and I went back and had to change it. But here I'm using a package of enamel dots to line things up correctly. I have 2 big rulers. One is a Tim Holtz 18-inch ruler, and the other one is like an 18-inch quilting ruler that I got at Joann Fabric. And neither one is ever on my desk when I need it to be. I think I'm going to blame that on the fact that I have children that love craft supplies as much as I do. And for the most part, I'm okay with that because I do really want to pass on my love of paper and my love of crafting to my children. And so that's all fine and good, but when I need a ruler, it can be a little annoying, I will say. This is my bucket of washi. It's not really a bucket, is it? It's a jar of washi. And I'm just digging around in there for a few more that might coordinate, because when you look at the sketch up there in the corner, you will notice that there is a spot for journaling lines. And I'm going to actually do most of my journaling over on that pocket card that's in the little envelope on the middle right. I always have to stop and think about whether it's left or right because I am left-handed and I am notorious for getting left and right backwards. In fact, when my husband is driving and I am navigating, he will often say, okay, do you mean that left or the other left? And ask me to double check because I'm kind of infamous for saying left when I mean right and vice versa. So I've just added a few more washi tapes there between the 2 pictures as a way of kind of as a way of kind of mimicking where the journaling lines are on the sketches. My goodness. Holiday weekend has gotten to my brain, I am telling you. And now I'm using these little alphabets from Ellie's Studio to just create a small title there for those 2 photos. So I suppose in essence I'm kind of creating a mini layout on the 6x12 side, as well as creating a whole pocket page, as well as using a sketch to kind of design almost a 12x12 design over the top of the whole thing with the cascading circles. So there's kind of a lot going on here, but at the end of the day, I love how it turned out, and I have never done a pocket page that looked anything like this. So I was pretty excited about that, and how using the sketch really helped me do something different with a pocket page. A lot of times I get kind of bored with pocket pages because I feel like it's all rectangles and squares and photos and journaling cards, and this particular layout pocket page spread really helped me use a variety of supplies like washi tape that I don't use nearly often enough. I had 5 photos, I had plenty of room for journaling, and I also really felt like it was like a miniature version of my style, which is always what I hope a pocket page will be, but in reality sometimes they just end up being a lot simpler and a lot less interesting to me than a 12x12 would be. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm enjoying using the sketches, because it really challenges me to do something a little bit different when it comes to the pocket pages. It's really knocked me out of my rut, and I really like that, so I definitely encourage that. So this is the journal sticker book from American Crafts. I got it at Tuesday morning. It is still available at Joann Fabric as well. And the colors of it go really well with most of the Maggie Holmes collections, and they also go very well with her newest Heritage collection. So if you're a Maggie Holmes fan and you have, especially if you have that new Heritage collection, this journal sticker book would be a great addition. Now I'm just adding kind of the little bits and pieces, the sprinkles of things across. Taking a quick look at the Dear Lizzie sticker book here to see if there's anything else that I can layer in. A little clear heart there. This is just kind of the point where I'm adding some little details so that I feel like it's finished. So we're getting pretty close now. I had to take a break there, which is why there's a different camera angle now and why I'm not as centered. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize when I restarted the camera that it was off center by that much, but my family came home and so I stopped briefly to check in with the kiddos and see how their church service, youth group service at church had gone. These are stickers from Case of the Blahs by Pink Fresh, also the same colors as some of the Maggie Holmes collections. And so I think they're kind of a fun addition because Maggie Holmes tends to be very pink, flowery, and pink and flowery. And so the Case of the Blahs kind of really, they pick up that color scheme, but they're not syrupy sweet. And so if you're looking to use those Maggie Holmes papers, but maybe not be all sunshine and roses all the time, those stickers from Case of the Blahs or the die cut pack could be a great way to mix that up a little bit and make that Maggie Holmes a little less sugary sweet. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm a Maggie fan, probably about as much as anybody, but sometimes I find her things can be a little sweet and almost syrupy for me. So I think that is it. So here's the sketch again, and like I said, I kept that cascade of bubbles across the middle from the left to the right, and then I put my title down in the bottom corner, similar placement to where it is, and I used those lines there that on the sketch are intended for journaling. I kind of mimicked them with washi strips, and then I added a few little sprinkles to mimic those tiny little or smaller dots on the sketch. So I think that is about it. Here are some close-ups. I hope you enjoyed watching. Oh, I'm just showing you there that those two photos up in the corner, there's not much embellishment up there and no circles, because my intention there was to keep some white space up on the top of the pocket page in the same way that there's white space there on the sketches. So here are your close-ups. Thanks so much for watching. Stay